What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Anything Liverpool live stream with myself, Reeve, Mo, and Craig. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. A bit of a, I suppose, how could you describe it? An animosity filled Wednesday evening, considering the fixture that occurred yesterday. But before we do get into everything, I would like to ask everybody to please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're currently watching on X at the moment, there's going to be a comment down below the stream to get you involved. If you're watching on Facebook, you can just see there that there's a subscription link that's thrown into the chat now for the stream as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on any other platform, please make sure to jump over to our YouTube page, put your notifications on, make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on any future content. I'm going to put that link now down below the Twitter page, so make sure that you're there following that. Appreciate everybody joining us. We have a couple of newcomers with us and the two old heads here, as we call them. Reeve, I'll come over to yourself first. Welcome to the page, first of all. Welcome to the streams. Happy to have you here. Excited to be welcomed to the shit show that is this page. No, we love it really. But myself and Craig have obviously had a lot of back and forths over the past couple of weeks because Craig has been here quite a while and I'm one of the guys that helped set this up along with a couple of other guys. Whereas yourself and Mo, and we'll get to yourself, Mo, in a moment, you haven't really been here to sort of see our conversations on how the season has gone so far. And what I'd love to do is, first of all, welcome you, and I'll do the same with yourself, Mo, and just get your thoughts on the season so far and what you thought about last night.
Yeah, so I think the season's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. When we head into the season, there's a lot of changes and obviously the devastating tragedy as well. So it's kind of a weird thing. Like coming into the first game, I remember walking to Anfield for the Bournemouth game, having a complete feeling of okay, what is going to happen this season? Just a complete openness to the expectation. Obviously, I think being champions is always a thing that gives you that extra excitement, but also gives you that extra target on your back. And I think I've noticed that every single game this season so far. And from where I see the season so far, I'm yeah, it's not as good or as great or as where we thought we were going to be at this point in the season, but it's just part of the process. And I think a lot of the feeling over now, obviously, we can be upset when we lose. I just think a lot of things we're seeing online is a little bit overreactionary. We are champions. Everything's going to feel 10 times worse because we are champions. When we lose a game, it's going to feel worse because we've got that thing of we're champions. We've got this expectation on us. We've signed all these players. But it's just part and parcel of what the season's like in football. And I think this season's been a coming together of loads of different new players, figuring out where we're going from there. And I think ultimately we'll get up and running in later on in the season and we'll pick up from where we were last season. And that's my hope. I'm quite an optimistic person. I can see the negatives. I can absolutely agree with a lot of the points people have made. But from my position, I believe that we'll pick up. Hopefully it's against Chelsea at the weekend and put in a convincing performance. But I'm not too worried at where Liverpool are this season so far.
Yeah, I'd be very much in a similar boat to that. Mo, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the streams. Happy to have you here. How are you feeling about Liverpool's season so far? And are you worried about performances? Because I know some people are, some people aren't. Some people are overreacting. Maybe the younger fans among us now. Obviously, Craig has been watching since the Shankly days. I have been watching since the Jared Houllier days. So we've maybe got a little bit more experience than most others. But how are you feeling in recent times about Liverpool's start to the season?
I think a lot of the discourse on Liverpool right now is very, very reactionary. You guys can hear me correctly, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
So everything around Liverpool right now is very reactionary. I think it takes time to set up any dynasty. Like last season, obviously we had a great season, and a lot of it is due to Arne Slot taking an inherited squad and making it his own, changing up Grava's whole role in the system and kind of just breathing life into this team that kind of lost it near the tail end of the Klopp run. I just think they just need to give them some time. If this is the best time to be dropping points, we've already beaten Arsenal. City's lost 2. Anybody who's in a specific vicinity to catch us or to give us a run for our money has already slipped up. So us slipping up with 1 game in the league already, you just need to give it some time. I think Florian Wirtz which we might get into later, is like the conversation around him is again so reactionary. He's never played in this league before. It takes so much time to figure out an entirely different style of play, and an entirely new system. Because at Leverkusen he was the system, and now he has to kind of find his way inside. Isak is gonna come good because again he's like one of the best strikers in the world, if not like he was like the best striker in the league last season. It's just give us some time. We're in the league phase of the Champions League. Losses now. We'll still qualify anyways. I have no doubt about that. And come Christmas, we'll probably be first. And if we're not, we're knocking on that door in second. Like I'm not super worried. I just need Slot to be a little bit more proactive the way he was last season. Because last season he was very like he had different systems set up against different teams. But right now he's kind of trying to force square pegs into circle holes. And just give them time to breathe. Ekitike's hit the ground running. I feel like put everything on him, bank on him.
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with that. It's just it takes time. Craig, one of the questions that I just see here from Nathan, which is very poignant in my own opinion. Why is there panic between us as fans? Surely all of these new players settling in is going to take time. We are going to get better, and remember, we lost a vital piece of our engine when Jota passed away. Unfortunately, it's very well said from Nathan there. I do agree with him. And Omnes, this is how you set up a dynasty. It is how you set up multiple years of winning multiple trophies, and it takes time. The transitionary period that we expected last season had a 12-month delay. But Craig, to Nathan's point of there's a lot of animosity and a lot of panic between an awful lot of the online contingent of fans and possibly the younger generation of fans. But I've seen better players than what we have come and go. I've seen worse players than what we have come and go. But the one constant that always remains is we keep winning trophies, which is why I don't really feel one way or the other about Ibrahima Konate going or staying. But yourself, Craig, we've obviously talked back and forth over the last number of weeks about how the games have gone, but we'll focus more specifically for yourself on last night and how you felt last night went. What are your thoughts on it? Is there any sort of panic or worry starting to creep in a little bit, or is this just the teething phase and transition phase for a club in our situation at the moment?
Right. For me, first of all, I think the performance last night was worse than the Palace one, to be fair. I mean, obviously, like you just elaborated too. I mean, I've been watching Liverpool since Bill Shankly days, so I've seen probably the best team, in my opinion, we've ever had was 77, 78. There's no team comes close to that. But if you're looking at how we're playing at the minute, let's forget the 2 European games we played. We played 6 Premier League games and we've won 5. Now, if you'd have said to me at the beginning of the season, we'll win 5 out of the first 6, I'd have snatched your hand off. And I think what a lot of Liverpool fans need to realise is, yeah, we're champions, as Reeves mentioned and Moore said. Yeah, we are champions, and rightly so. But last season was Jurgen Klopp's team. This season it's Arne Slot's team. We've sold 8 players. We've brought in 7. And are you telling me if you're a professional footballer, no matter who you play for, where you come from, you're going to hit the ground running straight away and that team's going to gel? It doesn't work like that. And I also said on a stream going back a while, Mo Salah's coming in for a bit of stick, and there's 4 other players who are getting slated as well. Dom Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Florian Wirtz, and McAllister. I think there's 7 or 8 players who are underperforming. Isak's not fit, Maka's not fit, Ping Pong, he's not a right back, he's a winger for me. But Mo Salah, I think this goes a lot deeper. I think he's still affected by the death of Diogo Jota. And there's nobody taking this into consideration because the summer these lads have gone through. You imagine losing your best mate you've turned up to work with for the last 5 years, every day, week in, week out, home and away, and then suddenly you walk into changing room for this season and he's not there. You're telling me that's not going to affect you mentally? It's got to. So I think, yeah, it is teething problems. I'm not worried at all because we will come good. So I just think Arne Slot, he needs to get back to basics and do what works for him. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not being negative, but I think we'll lose on Saturday at Chelsea. I just can't see how we're going to turn this around so quick and win there, because we've not won at Chelsea since 2020. We've got a bad record there. We never play well there. And I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for the guys to gel. I wouldn't play Verts on Saturday. I'd take him out the fire line, Stephen. I don't know what you two guys think, but everybody's. I mean, the only people who are loving this for me are Talk Sports and Sky Sports, because Liverpool have lost 2 games on the bounce, and they're saying, "Look how much money they've spent." We've not spent anything for 3 transfer windows until this summer. So, what do you expect them to do?
Yeah, it's for me. I'd still start Florian Wirtz, because the problem with it is that you have a guy that's in a slump, and the only way that majority of players can get out of a slump is by playing through the slump. And of all players in the Premier League across 9 games, he has the most chances created at 21. So he averages about 2.5 chances a game that he creates, and we're not fully clicking yet, mind you. So I know I lie. 8 games I think he's played, because he didn't start the Everton game. He only came on in the latter part of it, so I wouldn't really count that game. But it's a tough one, because a 400 million plus spending window comes with a certain expectation, and the problem is people that, and I hope I don't insult anybody when I say this, but people that their hair is still wet from the womb of how young they are, they don't understand that it's not FIFA and all of a sudden the lads just slot in and you can bang in 12 goals with them. Unfortunately, this comes with time. It comes with learning the system. There's Ekitike, Wirtz, Frimpong all have moved off the continent and moved country along with moving league. Ekitike seems to have hit the ground running, and I am over the moon for that, because I've been one of his biggest champions since January. I wanted him instead of Marmoush, and everybody called me nuts at the time. And I was like, no, this is the better striker. I was called nuts at the time, and I was called many another name that I can't mention on stream for fear of demonetization. But Kerkez as well is now adapting to a different role. There's teething problems. Isak also isn't match fit. If you look at the Galatasaray game and you look at the Crystal Palace game, there was a pass in the second half against Crystal Palace where Isak was just played through beautifully. Isak 4 months ago hits that first time and puts it past the keeper. Isak now, because he's not fully match sharp, never mind fitness, match sharp, isn't as sure of himself and needs to take a touch, which then got it nicked off his foot before he could get a proper shot off. Similarly, against Galatasaray, beautiful pass played through by Wirtz with a quick 1-2 where he picked the ball up in his own half, brought it, quick 1-2, beautiful pass over the top. Isak smacks it off his shin. Isak 4 or 5 months ago nails that into the bottom corner and nobody even thinks second about it. This is the kind of thing that I'm on about. Ekitike as well, very, very close to getting a goal and done the right decision when he was one-on-one with the keeper. He tried to take it around him because the keeper had the chip basically covered, if you watch that back. It's going to take time. What it reminds me of is PSG. PSG last season, very slow to start. Yes, they were basically pissing the league, but they were very poor in Europe. They drew games against what will be considered relegation fodder in the Premier League. Yes, they still remain first in Liga, but the issue was that they did not look at all at the races. And then all of a sudden hit form in December and January and ran away with everything. And we just happened to run into that buzzsaw in the knockout rounds of this. But we're going to move on, just because we've had a bit of a chat about that now, but we're going to move on to one of the next topics that I have here in relation to this. And that is, obviously, unfortunately, we came across some injuries. But before we get into that, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure that you have your notifications on for all future streams of videos so that you never miss out. If you're currently watching on X or Twitter at the moment, please jump down into the comments below. You'll see a link straight to our YouTube page. If you're watching on Facebook, please make sure to jump over to our YouTube page and subscribe. We're just over 2,000 subscribers and we're growing very, very quickly. Across all Liverpool channels that have been posting videos, I think we are ranked 7th so far in total views of the past couple of months. So very much appreciated for everybody. And I think we're outgrowing most channels at the moment at a rate, which is, again, very appreciative. Thank you so much, everybody watching and subscribing. But to take a look into this injury issue, one of the main issues I have, I'm not worried about Ekitike. Ekitike is just a cramp as far as we're aware, and apparently he's going to be fit for the weekend. But he won't start. It'll be Isak starting because that's just the way they're going at the moment. One plays 60 to 65, the other one comes on for the remainder, and then they swap. And to be honest, I feel that's probably the best way to get them both up to a match sharpness. But Alisson, I've never seen a more injury-prone goalkeeper in my life. And it is absolutely bonkers that this man's hamstrings are just basically made of string cheese at this point. Mo, I'll throw a very dangerous hypothetical your way. Is this the last season that Alisson has a Liverpool shirt on due to these injuries and the signing of Mamardashvili?
I was ready for this. I want to say last season, after we won our Prem, I thought it was going to be Alisson's swan song. We've signed Mamardashvili, and Alisson staying on, in hindsight now, is like a great idea to coach. Because Alisson's still the best shot stopper in the league. Like, he's the best keeper in the league. That Crystal Palace game, even though we lost, was like pure proof that, like, I think he got hurt because of the superhuman feat he was doing during the Crystal Palace game. But yeah, I think he's getting up there. He's still amazing. I think we can get another season or two out of him. But for the sake of, like, Mamardashvili is also one of the better keepers in the world. Like, we got him from Valencia, and he's okay with being the understudy, which speaks like levels to his mentality and how he sees his role in the team and how he trusts the team to, like, make sure he is taken care of in the long run. So I think Alisson, this might be his swan song. Hopefully we win enough to, send him out happy. But I think he should pass the torch sometime this season, because Mamardashvili subbed on last night and he looked right as rain. He looks fine. Like, they didn't try him enough, but he also looked really fine. His distribution was good. He had his IQ is really up there, and I think working with Alisson and the goalkeeper team for Liverpool is helping him a lot. So I think, yeah, Alisson might be done after this season.
I think he 100% is done after this season, purely because the injuries are just, he misses 10 to 12 games a season now with hamstring injuries, and it's lower body injuries, and these are the types of injuries that, unfortunately, Reeve, as you get older, don't all of a sudden go away. And I'm nearly sure I read an article. It's basically the way he has kicked a ball for his whole life. It hyperextends his lower half of his leg, which then stretches the hamstring and pulls the hamstring. I gave the dangerous hypothetical to Mo. Would you be of the same opinion that this is possibly Alisson's swan song and he maybe goes to Saudi Arabia or maybe goes back to Madrid? Or do you think he's going to see out his contract? He's 2 years left. I say he's 2 years left, this year and the year after. So what do you think?
My hope is he'd see out his contract, regardless of his playing position in the squad, because I think there's plenty of games for it to be shared out. And obviously he does get injured as well. So it's the injuries of Alisson. It's so frustrating because he's literally the perfect package. Like, he is the perfect goalkeeper. He may maybe not be perfect with his feet, but he stops people, the other team scoring goals. And that's the most important things. He wins us points. He wins us games countless of times. Against Crystal Palace at the weekend, honestly, we shouldn't have even been in the game, And I think everyone's like saying now, it could be time to pass the torch to Alisson, but we've just got to see how Mamardashvili actually holds up in goal, because I've remembered a couple of times on a couple of occasions where Alisson got injured and Kelleher came in, and people remember the good times of Kelleher, where Kelleher was
very careful what you say about my Irishman.
No,
friend.
I know I am.
Careful.
But there were some periods in play where after 3 or 4 games, people were calling back for Alisson. Because obviously there is a drop off, and that's no disrespect to Kelleher. I think Kelleher is a top Premier League quality goalkeeper. But this thing could happen with Mamardashvili, one mistake, and it happens. So I think we've got to be careful on how quickly we want to start this conversation. I think this season will be good, especially if Alisson's only out for 2 to 3 weeks now. then we'll quickly forget about this. You know what I mean? It's one of them things where if this continues to happen, or this is a longer term injury, it's where it becomes a bit worrying. And I hope that he'd just see out his contract, because I think there's still 2 good years of Alisson, even if they're not full seasons. If there was a Champions League final tomorrow and Alisson was there ready to play, everyone would want him playing. So regardless of where he is at, to be able to play a full season, I'd want him to see out his full contract.
Yeah. Goalkeeping is a very interesting, and I think it's something that not a lot of people understand unless you've actually played the position. And it's one of those that personally I have played it at every level but professional. It is possibly, and I will say this because I've played outfield as well, it is the hardest position to play on a football pitch. And anybody that disagrees with anybody on that has never either played the position or does not understand the position. The level of reflex that you need to have, you need to be big enough and strong enough to hold your own in the box, while also being agile and nimble enough to be able to reach every corner of the goal, while also being tall enough to be about 6'4", and having a wingspan that's bigger than that. You need to be quite literally a physical freak to be able to play as a goalkeeper at a top level, and never mind at the 0.001% that the Premier League goalkeepers are at, which is kind of why I felt like we went for Marmardashvili, because the lad is 6'6" and he's built like a brick shithouse. So I have absolutely no problem with him being a goalkeeper. Craig, is it time to pass the torch, or is it time to begin even thinking about that yet? Or are you very much in the same camp as Reeve, where Alisson will probably see out his contract?
I think with Alisson Becker, I was gutted for him when he went down last night, because the older you get, the longer it takes you to recover from injuries, because your body, obviously some people recover quicker than others, so we don't know how quick Alisson recovers, but he must have been absolutely gutted last night when that happened for starters. I agree with Rave. I'd love him to see his 2-year contract out, but if he decided that this season was to be his last, I wouldn't hold it against him, because I know Donnarumma's playing for City tonight, and he's just won the Goalkeeper of the Year award, but for me, that's just an expensive draw. Stop that trophy. For me, Alisson Becker's still the best keeper in the world by a mile. And this fella who we've got in now is number 2. He's no mug, this geezer, believe me. He's absolutely no mug. And he is, like Stephen's just said, he's built like an outhouse. So I think, we can be thankful that we've had Alisson Becker for as long as we've had him. He's not let us down. And if he does this season and then he hands it over and then says to Marmardashvili, okay, I'm quite happy to play 20, 25 games the following year, I'd be quite happy with that. And I think Liverpool will give him the send off he deserves. And I think he'll go back to Brazil, to be honest. I think he'll finish his career there in his own country. But he's an absolute legend already, so we can count ourselves lucky, really, that we've got Alisson Becker and not Andre and Arna.
Yeah. It's no, I don't disagree with you. The ironic thing about it, hilariously, is throughout the years you could probably put Queevy and Kelleher in our top 5 goalkeepers ever, which is an absolutely mad thing to say, that our backup and our starter that we've had for the past number of years are in our top 5 of the greatest keepers we've ever had. I don't know if that speaks more to the fact that we've just had absolutely shit keepers throughout the years for a majority of our history.
Just going back to Alisson Becker, if you remember the season where the first game of the season he got injured and he was out for the next 8 games, and Adrian came in and he didn't put a foot wrong. He was absolutely sublime, and everybody's thinking, who's this fella? But between the posts, and it's like you said, Stephen, you need to have the reflexes of a cat to be a goalkeeper, and you have to have a slate loose as well, because you've got their own goalkeepers union, and they're all bonkers, aren't they? Not saying you, Stephen, but most of the
no, I am. I'll tell you for a fact I am. Don't worry.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think the smallest keeper in the Premier League is Jordan Pickford, isn't it?
Yeah, But see, the thing about Jordan Pickford as well is if you look at him, and I think the way people look at keepers and the way people scout keepers is they look at the physical aspects, because if you don't know, and I don't mean to mansplain or patronize when I say this, I'm sure Mo, with you being the other side of the pond, you might know more about the NFL draft and the NBA draft, where they would do what's called a combine.
Yeah.
And what they do is they measure your wingspan. So fingertip to fingertip. And majority of the guys that are in the NBA would, proportionally speaking, your wingspan is meant to be the same as your height. But obviously you have genetical freaks that their wingspan is bigger than their height. They're the kind of goalkeepers you need. Jordan Pickford is on the other end of it. His arms are actually shorter than his height. So his wingspan is very small. I'm 6'4". My wingspan is 6'8". So my arms are very long. I'd nearly drag me knuckles across the ground like a gorilla. But that's what you look for in a goalkeeper. Very similar to like edge rushers in the NFL or power forwards or centers in the NBA. Like Rajon Rondo is a point guard in the NBA, or was a point guard in the NBA. He was about 6'2" tall. However, his wingspan was 6'8". And his hands were the equivalent of a man that was 7'2". He just was a freak of nature. But it absolute freak of nature. But nonetheless, this is what you look for in a goalkeeper. You need to look for big hands. You need to look for long wingspan. You need to look for big frame, broad shoulders. But they also need to have the agility of a winger, the strength of a centre back, and to be absolutely fucking tapped in the head. And that's how you get a goalkeeper, basically. If you ever want to look watch Mean Machine, the movie with Vinnie Jones and the monk, who is the goalkeeper in that, and that's probably your best description of what a goalkeeper needs to be. Just some mad cunt altogether. But we're going to move on to one of the other topics that I have here at the moment, and that is Ibrahima Konate's contract. Speaking of centre backs, before we do get on to Ibrahima Konate's contract, do make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you have your notifications on for all future streams and videos so that you never miss out as well. If you're currently watching over on X or Twitter at the moment, please make sure to jump down into the comments below and join the conversation, basically, because I do love having comments come in and out here, because obviously we had Nathan here asking about Alisson, and then you have Nathan here mentioning as well. We spent 400 million. And we've had to replace. We've only sold. Remember that we haven't done an Arsenal and spent 250 and not sold anybody. Exactly correct. Amon is mentioning here a couple of goalkeepers: Ray Clements, Bruce Grobbelaar, Tommy Lawrence, Dudek, Pepe Reina, Westerwell, David James. Not sure how Kelleher's top five. Kelleher is better than a lot of them. Not really. I can't speak for the likes of Ray Clements or Grobbelaar because I never seen them play, or Tommy Lawrence. I'm not that old. Dudek was good for one game, and it was a game that mattered. But he was wank the rest of the time. But he turned into the greatest keeper on the planet for the guts of a half an hour, and that's all we needed. Pepe Reina is in the top five. David James, I wouldn't put there. Westerweld, no. Kelleher is easily in the top five. If not, he's just tied fifth. So I don't. If again, that's just the way that I view it. Alisson is top. I'd put Pepe Reina second because I can only speak about the guys that I've watched. From what I've heard, Ray Clements was absolutely ridiculous, and so was Bruce Grobbelaar. So I'm not going to speak on players I've never watched, but I can only speak on players that I have watched. But Ibrahima Konate's contract, apparently, according to L'Equipe, which is one of the most reliable outlets in France at the moment, Liverpool have offered Ibrahima Konate a new contract as of about 2 weeks ago, and they are confident that he will renew. Craig, I'll throw it over to yourself first with this one. Do you feel his performances of late have warranted a new contract? Is it possible that he has signed a new contract and is now just that post-contract slump and he will start to improve again? Because if you've seen last season, obviously, Van Dijk and Salah, the data shows, and the Ian Graham, the guy that was our data guy, said in the book as well, that guys in a contract year tend to overperform. So it's not really surprising that you've seen Salah all of a sudden break every record known to man and decide to just go absolutely apeshit. Then he signed his contract towards the end of the season. I was kind of like, I'm done now, Clark. But that's sort of the running theory. Craig, do you think he's earned this contract? Do you think we should offer him this contract? And how do you feel about the comments that Liverpool are confident that he will sign? Because a lot of the narrative lately has been, oh, he's gone to Madrid. The Real Madrid mouthpieces definitely have said that.
Well,
Ben mentioning here from the pay to play.
If you're basing it off the last 2 games, then no, he doesn't deserve a contract. He's about as much use as a one-legged man in an ice-kicking contest at the minute. He's already turned 3 contracts down. So why is he going to accept a 4th one now? The keeper who's come out with it, they're basically the same as Marker. They're PSG's mouthpiece. So I'm going to take this with a pinch of salt. I mean, if he does sign, great, because that means he's not going to wear the most fraudulent football strip in world football, Real Madrid. He's going to stay with us. But if he does go, that's up to him. I think, personally, I think we've already got a better centre half who's unfortunately injured now for a year in Canate, in Leone, and he's only 18. So it all depends on what Canate wants. To be honest with you, obviously he wants a lot of money. I think he wants 300-400 grand a week. I don't think he's worth that at the minute the way he's playing. He's a liability for me. So I'm just going to wait and see how this one pans out. I've not got a clue which way it's going to go. I still think there's more of a chance that he leaves on a free in the summer and we get Gay on a free in the summer. I think that's how it'll pan out, but I could be absolutely barking up the wrong tree here.
We'll still need to sign a centre back if that is the case, though. If we let Kanate go and we sign Gahey on a free, that's then just Van Dijk, Gahey, and Leone. I'm not trusting Joe Gomez as far as I can throw him to remain fit, unfortunately. So you will need to get another centre back on top of it.
Well, Joe Gomez is like Cinderella's slipper. He's made of glass, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if you've seen the reports I've read, but apparently Mark Gay's going to Real Madrid. That's what I've been reading today. But that's a different kettle of fish.
I don't think he will, because Real Madrid are at their limit for non-EU players, which is why they needed Jude Bellingham to get his Irish passport. So that's not even a word of a lie. That is exactly it. In the league, it's kind of like the homegrown, non-homegrown rule here. They can only have a certain number of non-EU players, and after Brexit, British players now count as non-EU. So Mark Gahey would be that, whereas he would be homegrown for us. Mo, Konate's new contract offer that apparently landed at his desk 2 weeks ago. Craig has mentioned that he's rejected multiple contracts until now. Do you think it's a matter of money, that he was asking for more and Liverpool weren't willing to pony up the cash for more? Do you think he deserves more? And what would you be comfortable with paying him on a weekly basis?
I think my take on it is that, like, the reason why Mo broke every record, like, conceivable last season and had the greatest individual season in Premier League history is because he was playing for a contract, while I see Kanate in more of the 66 role, where he has kind of got his head turned.
He's playing not to get hurt.
Yeah, he got his head turned. He sees maybe grass is greener on another side. So he is probably taking his eye off the ball and not really caring about the outcome of the season because he doesn't see himself here anyways. Or he thinks that, like, the team needs him more than he needs the team. And I love Ibu. I've always loved him. I don't think he's the type to willingly throw games, but in a position that's so, like, vital and so mentality focused, if you don't have your wits about you 100%, you will get caught out by a lot of these Premier League attacks, by a lot of these European attacks. Do I think he deserves a contract? 100%. Like, him and Van Dijk have been, like, the best Premier League center back pairing, bar maybe Saliba and Gabriel. For the last couple seasons, they've been fantastic together. I don't think he is playing at, like, somebody who we'd want to keep at all costs.
Yeah.
Give him a contract that is worth how he's playing right now. If he refuses, he can leave on a free transfer. The good thing is we're in an era of center backs. The market is flush. There's so many good center backs out there that you can go get. I personally love Mark Gahey. I would love to see Bastoni in a Liverpool jersey.
That's not happening. He's too old.
26.
Yeah, and we don't sign guys for big money over the age of 26. So that's
How old is Bastoni?
He's 26 at the moment. Will be 27 next season. We won't pay big money for that.
How old is Isak? How old is Isak?
Isak is only turned 26 this summer.
Okay.
Isak turns 27
That's
next
my
summer.
dream Liverpool signing for me. I think if we're looking for a centre back,
if it was 2 years ago, absolutely not now. It's not happening now. And as well, I'd be very worried about a guy that is that used to playing in a slower league in Serie A. So I wouldn't necessarily. I think you can get better bang for your buck personally across more difficult and more intense leagues. Personally, just my thoughts on it. And also, we currently have a centre back that's basically sat on glorified loan in the Bundesliga at the moment that is currently doing very, very well.
He's doing fantastically. I think, yeah.
So that's one that he'll be back. I'm 100% convinced he's coming back. We have already agreed his personal terms for when he does come back, meaning that all we have to do is trigger it.
Yeah, we have a match clause, right? Like whatever offer.
No, not a match. We have a buyback clause of £50 million, and we already have his personal terms agreed for 2 years' time. So it's quite literally just make a phone call. Yeah, we're paying the money, and off you go. 10 million a year over 5 years is how that will be spread.
I think he needed that run in the Bundesliga because he did have like a howler in him every once in a while, a little bit of a mistake because he is mad young. But yeah, I think that's a good option. Sorry.
Amina is here mentioning he's on 70k a week, so is Diaz. No, Diaz was not on 70k a week. It was confirmed that Diaz was on about 140k a week. Not surprised they rejected 120k. No, they shouldn't. There is no way in hell Ibrahima Konate should be on 200 grand a week. There is no way in hell Luis Diaz should be on 200 grand a week. It's not. It's so much cheaper to sign Gahey on a free than pay them guys that. Virgil van Dijk's contract before he was on the one that he's on at the moment was £220,000 a week. Are you telling me that with Konate's availability and injury issues and his tendency to either be a 10 out of 10 centre back or a 3 out of 10 centre back and no in between, that he's worth 200 grand a week? And you're going to tell me that a winger who is going to be 30 very, very soon and relies on agility and pace to get his job done is also warranting 200 grand a week? No, neither of them are warranted 200 grand a week. Konate will probably get 200 grand a week with bonuses, but I can guarantee you his base fee is not going to be anywhere near 200 grand a week. People said that Florian Wirtz was going to get $500,000 a week with us. He's on 200 grand a week. Do you think Konate is going to be getting the same amount of money as Florian? Not a hope.
Do you not think, though, with Konate, he's at that age now where it is one of his chances to get a big contract. So that's a reason why his head might be turned at this point. It might be a reason.
Yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time as well, Liverpool are like 5th in the world for what we pay in salaries, both in base and bonus. Salah gets about $1 million a week.
Yeah.
On paper, he only gets on paper. Previously on paper, he only got about 300k. Yeah. He gets $1 million a week after bonuses and endorsements and everything, and jersey sale percentages and the whole lot. Konate is not scraping pennies together whatsoever. But also, that sort of lends credence to a theory, Reeve, of does he want money or does he want success? Because take Florian Wirtz, for example. He could have been getting €500,000 a week at Bayern, but instead chose half that at Liverpool for the better sporting project and the better sort of potential outcome. So if Ibrahima Konate is looking at a 150 grand a week contract, which basically doubles his salary, is looking at 150 grand a week contract and before bonuses, and sees the fact that we're just coming off a Premier League, we're favourites to win the Premier League again, we're probably one of the favourites to win the Champions League, and we haven't even gotten out of first gear or second gear yet, and he wants to now leave that project, no contract you offer him, regardless of money, is going to fix that. What would you feel comfortable in paying him, though, Reeve?
The thing is, it's completely, like, obviously based on past. You know, if we think about the last 3 years, and I block out the last couple of weeks, it's different. So I'd probably pay him on something that similar to what Andy Robertson and Matip and Trent was on at the time on their big contracts, which I think was around just under 200 grand a week.
It was
Like,
150 to 180k. Thereabouts.
That's whereabouts I'd pay
That's
him
fine.
right now. And it's difficult to understand because his form has really worried me recently. And if you think, when I think of Canate, my first game I think of, because I've got good memories of these players. When I think about a player, I think about the good times. And I think about that Real Madrid final, and he was the best player. Like, he was incredible against Vinicius Junior in 2022 Champions League final, in a game that we actually probably deserved to win, in a game that we ended up losing. He was the one that stood out and was like, wow, he was man of the match. And other than the keeper, but we won't talk about that.
He's definitely had his head turned, mate.
Yeah, honestly, it's just one of them things where Canate, it's like, and also there's no one else to come in to take his spot. And I think
There's
that's
no
also a
competition.
big reason of form. Because when players have got players breathing down the neck, you can see the performance level rise. And Canate, we actually can't afford to take him out because I'm not even comfortable with the drop off between Canate and Joe Gomez. Canate's been that bad, but I'm still not comfortable in dropping him. And that just speaks volumes on our recruitment of centre backs and our failure to sign Gay in the summer and our failure to be prepared, because every top team, when we've won trophies in the past, we've had 3 to 4 senior level, top level centre backs, And I'm not. We've got Van Dijk, Joel Matip. We had Gomez when he was available, and we had Dejan Lovren, who was a senior centre back, who was a Premier League proven centre back. We have 4 available, and now we're at another level where we're competing for more things, and we've actually only got 2 senior centre backs available, and I'd only say one of them is available and doesn't have any injury issues.
When you think that Joe Gomez is the longest serving player in the squad now, 10 years,
Yeah,
that says it all. I mean, for me, I know what Stephen's going to say to me now because I think he's injured. But if he hadn't have got injured, for me, another centre back I would have gone for definitely would have been Slotterback from Borussia Dortmund, because
okay.
he's another beast. And he's just class, but he's got a bad injury now, so that's him done, I think. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Reeve. When you look at how bad Canate is playing at the minute, and you can't drop him because the only guy you've got to come in is Cinderella, and he's not good enough. That's my biggest. If we've got a concern, that's the biggest one for me,
Yeah,
because
Craig, to be
I don't
honest,
know, I don't know what Stephen would think or more. If Leone hadn't have got injured, if everything had gone right, if Leone hadn't have got injured, I wouldn't have had a problem playing Leone outside of Van Dijk last night.
yeah. To be honest, Craig, I'm like, if Gomez played well on the times that he had a chance to perform this season, I would completely be fine with Gomez coming in. But when he's came in this season, he actually hasn't been that good. I went to the Southampton game last week, and it was a calamity. I know he's playing in a different team, but he's the senior centre back, and Leone's outshone him in that game. He's the senior centre back. He's been at the club 10 years. He should be commanding that back line, and he should be made look like the senior centre back. Leone looked like the senior centre back. So that's the reason. It's not like I have a hatred for Joe Gomez or anything. And you know what? When he plays well, he's a good defender. But it's this: we're in the Premier League, we're in the Champions League. The standards can't drop, and you can't go on if buts or maybes. You have to be like completely sure that that person's going to do the job.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's just it's Joe Gomez on his day when he is fit and in form is a fantastic centre back. The problem is you can count on one hand how many times that has happened. That's the issue. Of his entire Liverpool career, he has missed about 270 something games, which is nearly 30 games a season, basically. That is absolutely bonkers. And I do not. He has missed essentially what would it be? 10 months? 10 months worth of games if they were played every day back to back consecutively.
That's crazy.
I think if you counted his days he has spent injured, it comes to 3 years, if not more.
Wow.
So of his 10 years that he has been here, he has spent 30% of it sat in a rehab table. And I said the same thing about Thiago as well when he was here. Absolute wizard with the ball at his feet. Was injured half the time. And that's not a euphemism and that's not a turn of phrase. He was injured 50% of the time he was here. He was fit for 2 years and injured for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's availability is the best ability, in my opinion.
Exactly.
I'd rather somebody that has 70% of the ability but 95% availability than somebody that is available half the time and is God's gift.
It's what makes
You can have the you can have the left foot of Messi, but if you're never on the pitch to do anything with it, you're fuck all good to us, unfortunately. Just looking at some of the comments here, we have Omnes mentioning about Gahey. What do you think Mark Gahey would be on? Point taken about Diaz with the good sale. Yes, it was a massively good sale with Luis Diaz because there was no way we were getting anything more than that. I can tell you exactly what Mark Gahey is on right now. Mark Gahey is on 50 grand a week.
Right, he'll be on. I reckon he'll be on probably 180 to 200 grand a week if he's at Liverpool.
He won't get 200 grand. They won't quadruple his salary.
He'll be on 150 then at least minimum.
It'd be 150, but then he's going to get bonuses on top of that. So that's more or less what I would look at it.
So that'll take it to 200 then.
Yeah. Gahey being 5'10", the only thing I'm concerned about is his aerial duels. But then when you have somebody like Kirkes who's very good at them, Van Dijk who is the best in the world at them, Ryan Gravenberch who's 6'4", and you have Jeremy Frimpong that likes getting stuck into it. I don't mind about aerial duel wins or losses. It's challenging for them and engaging in them is my own worry, because you can always have a defender there ready to win a second ball from a broken up aerial duel, so to speak. You don't have to win it, you just don't have to lose it, is the way that I look at it with aerial duels. So I'm not overtly concerned about Gahey's aerial duels. But guys, we are going to leave it there because we've ran out. Well, not that we've ran out of time, but essentially we kind of all want to get ready because in about 10 minutes' time we're going to see Olympi. Who's it that they're playing? We're going to see Olympiacos absolutely tear the arsehole out of Arsenal, and I can't wait for it. That's not going to at all. Arsenal are going to absolutely piss walk this, unfortunately. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you so much, everybody who joined us this evening. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you have your notifications on for all future streams and videos so that you never miss out. If you're currently watching on X or Twitter at the moment, make sure to jump down into the comments below. You will see the link to go straight to our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, put your notifications on, and we will be back again on Friday. We'll be back again on Friday for the pre-match stream before we face Chelsea, and then we will have a post-match stream on Saturday at 7:30 following the Liverpool and Chelsea game. So make sure you're around for that and you have your notifications on for that. But for myself, Reeve, Mo, and Craig, I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Wednesday evening. We hope everybody enjoys the rest of the Champions League football.